I'm Emily.
And I'm Percy.
And we're here to help you have a great love and sex life through IFS, Internal Family Systems, the deep spiritual psychology of having fulfilled relationships.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of videos that both of us have watched about why men pull away. That's a very common searched term. And there are also videos on why women pull away, and we're trying to understand the deeper psychology of why they stonewall or why they ran and they don't give you an explanation.
Yeah. And in particular, they will often run away when there is a commitment conversation involved. And I've seen a lot of clients have sticky situations when the commitment conversation comes up. And often it's about, what are we committing to? But there are underlying reasons why this conversation scares people, and you'll see one example of that.
I've also run across clients that have had the same issues, that cannot commit, and that run away from the best things that have come into their lives. And when you understand the deep spiritual psychology of where the childhood burdens are contributing to that fear, that's when you can see that it's not about you that they're running away from. They're actually running away from themselves and the child parts of them that are still stuck in the past, in some negative memory, where they don't want to get that child part reactivated, because that's what relationships bring out. They bring out the unhealed parts of us, and when someone is chasing you and you're like, I can't do this, it has something to do with what happened to you as a child that scared you away, because you didn't feel like you had the permission to be all of who you are.
Right. So in this video, what we're going to see is a role play of a coaching session that actually goes underneath and to find out what are those things that are running away. And some of us will see ourselves in that, or see people that we've been with in that. And you'll get a chance to think about how this applies to you and how it has applied to you in the past with commitment talks.
Yes.
So I will be a client, I'll be role-playing a client in this conversation, and you'll get to see exactly how this would play out in a conversation to get a real sense of the sorts of things that lie underneath that.
And as you're watching this conversation, think about the past relationships or your current relationship that you're struggling with, where you can't seem to get this person to speak their truth or tell you really why they're running away. Because oftentimes they don't even know why they're running away. They're just scared, and their fear is underneath. And so this coaching session will help you to understand why your past lovers or current lover is running away, so that you can have more compassion for what's really going on and have a self-led conversation so that you could get to a better place.
Exactly. Well, roll tape.
So what brings you in today?
So I have this situation, and it's with a relationship where there's an attraction there. Like, I don't feel like all of my parts are on board or ready to commit to this relationship, yet I really value the relationship. You know, this person is really pushing for a commitment. It's hard for me to say I don't want a commitment because, you know, part of me would. I can't say that I do want a commitment because I really can't make that, you know, reassurance to her. Part of me is really not comfortable with committing to this person. So yeah, I'm just having a dilemma with that I'd like help with.
So let me make sure that I'm hearing this correctly. I'm hearing that you have this nice attraction to this woman. A part of you wants to stay in the relationship, but then another part of you, when she brings up commitment or going further, that part wants to run.
Part of me that feels really attracted to her, and a part of me that doesn't feel attracted at all. That's like, we can't be in this relationship. I feel like this is the right relationship for me, and then a period of time where I don't feel like this is the right relationship for me, where it's going to be a bad thing for me.
And so you want to get to know this part. So this is what we're talking about, is fear of commitment. Is that what we want to call it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get to know both parts, the part that wants to be in a relationship with her and the part that doesn't, because they both just cause me to come in and out and make it hard for me to be consistent with what I want in the relationship.
Okay. So you have these two polarized parts that one foot in and then there's the other foot out.
Yes.
And what you're experiencing is very common with, I see more men with this fear commitment issue. And then I also see a lot of women coming in complaining that their boyfriends are not ready to commit. And then I also see women that say, I can't do this. But I think the majority, at least that's what I see, are the men.
Okay.
And so it's not abnormal that you're feeling this way, and there's stuff underneath it from childhood that is driving this fear of jumping in.
Interesting.
Make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Why don't we then address the part, if we could start there on the fear commitment part and see where that takes us.
Okay, so the part that doesn't want to
That
be in a
doesn't want.
relationship.
Would you like to call it fear of commitment, or do you have some other name
Right.
for
That,
this part?
that part itself doesn't feel like a fear of commitment. It feels like this relationship isn't right for me. It feels like I'd rather not be in this relationship. Yeah.
This
So it
isn't
doesn't want
right.
the relationship. Yeah. This doesn't feel right. Yeah.
Okay. And then, but another part feels.
Another part of me feels attracted to her and wants to be in the relationship.
Feels attracted. Okay. Would you like to start with this part doesn't feel right?
Sure.
Okay. So if you could go inside and get in touch with this part and let me know how you're experiencing this part. Is it a sensation in your body? Is it an image? Should we draw something out? Right now I have a negative sign.
So it's kind of like a wall.
Okay.
Like a gray wall.
Gray wall.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you feeling towards this gray wall?
Ooh, somewhat intuitively getting it, but on the other hand, like not being completely sure about it. Like a little bit confused by it, I would say.
Yeah. So I get it. I get it that it is confusing. And so if we could ask the confused part to kind of just chill out, and what we want to do is give you and this isn't right part some space so you could get it out in front, get this wall out in front of you and develop a curiosity towards it so it could talk to you about what it wants you to know, about why it's reminding you that this isn't right.
I'm feeling more curious now.
Okay, good. See if you can invite it to tell you what it wants you to know about why it shows up when the girlfriend is discussing long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And it shows up, it's like, I can't do this.
Yeah, so it's saying that this person is trying to, like I'm going to be trapped. I'm going to be stuck and confined. It's like I'm going to be owned by this person. Like it's going to limit my life in some way. It's going to limit my growth because I won't have as much freedom.
Feeling trapped, not feeling like you have enough freedom, get stuck. These are all very common. This is the same scenario that gets repeated often. Yeah, so you're not alone in feeling this way. How are you feeling towards this part, expressing this to you?
I'm grateful. Sounds like it's trying to, it wants me to be free, it wants me to grow. Yeah, it has a feeling that this person is going to attach themselves to me in some way that's going to limit my ability to be me.
Yeah, that's understandable. Let it know you hear its concerns.
Yeah, it feels relieved.
Good. Yeah, because it's getting to express its real story of what's underneath. Because all you've seen is this wall that just gets put up with the girlfriend.
Yeah, and it gets that. It feels understood. Like it gets that. Oh yeah, I don't want us to be trapped or controlled either.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good. And let's ask it a little bit of a deeper question. Invite this wall, which represents this isn't right to be with a girlfriend in the long term. What is this wall afraid of? If it didn't do its job of reminding you that you're not going to have freedom, that you're going to be trapped, that you're going to feel owned, what is it afraid is going to happen to you if that happens?
That I'm going to get into a relationship with her that I'm really not happy in. That I'm not going to feel free in that relationship, like I'm going to not really be able to be me. Like, yeah, like she's going to always expect me to be a certain way with her, feel a certain way with her.
Then what would happen if you are expected to be a certain way, not be you, not feel free? Then what is this part afraid is going to happen to you if you have these boundaries put on by her, or you feel like you have these boundaries put on by her?
Yeah, it's afraid that I'm actually going to submit to being the person that she wants me to be rather than the person that I am.
And what would happen then if you submitted into somebody that you're not?
Then I'd stop being me. And that's not tolerable. That doesn't feel authentic to me. Like, it would limit the person that I am. It would be the exact fear that this part has. That at the end of the day, if I get into this relationship, I'm not going to be able to be myself.
Yeah. And then what would that remind you of if you couldn't be yourself? What memory from the past?
Like, have I ever felt that way before?
Have you
when
felt
I've
that way?
been limited?
Exactly.
Yeah. I felt like I had to be a certain person for my parents. So I couldn't really be myself with in my family growing up.
So this means you would be stop being me, not tolerable, and it really limits the person that you are, that you're not being authentic.
Yes.
And when you don't feel authentically you, what memories would that be reminding you of from childhood that made you feel that way, that you couldn't be yourself? How old is that part of you?
There's a part that from when I was about 6, when I felt sad. When I mentioned that I was sad, my family said, "Why are you sad? You have nothing to be sad about." Told me to be happy. There was also like on an earlier time where it was a really, happy, like a joyous day, like we were celebrating my grandmother's birthday, and I was sad on that day, or I wasn't feeling happy, or wasn't feeling the way that they felt like I was supposed to be feeling, and they told me I should feel happy. Yeah, other times where I, wanted to like stand up and walk around and be free, and they were like, and that's have been happening all growing up, like sit down in your chair, look at the chalkboard, and that sort of thing. And it's just like, oh, I'm not permitted to be who I am. Like, maybe I'm not a person that sits down and looks at the chalkboard. Maybe I learn in different ways.
Do you see this 6-year-old?
Yeah.
Where is this 6-year-old?
So this 6-year-old is in the classroom.
Can you bring yourself to the classroom?
Sure can.
Okay. I just want to double check. Is this part that we started with, if this isn't right wall, is it okay with you going back into this classroom right now?
Let me ask it.
Okay.
Yeah, it wants me to feel free.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that the protector gave the permission for us to go there. Because maybe at some point, once we heal this 6-year-old, that this protector would dial down its grip and come to some sort of negotiation where you would be fine with moving ahead with the relationship. We won't know what the final decision is until we speak to this 6-year-old.
Sure.
Okay? So he's in the classroom. See if you could transport yourself to that classroom and let me know when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How far away are you from him?
5 feet.
Is he aware of your presence?
He is now.
Does he know who you are?
He does now. I just told him.
Okay. How are you feeling towards him?
I feel really concerned about him, compassionate.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to take him aside or just be in this room, hold his hands to establish some connection so that he feels safe to tell you whatever it is that he wants you to know about what happened to him in that classroom?
Yeah, putting my hand on his shoulder, on his back.
How's he reacting to your connection to him?
Comforted.
Excellent. And when he's ready, please ask him to share what he wants you to know about what happened in the classroom.
Yeah, he's showing me how it didn't feel like it was okay for him to be himself. Like when he wanted to stand up and play, he was told to sit down.
That was by the teacher?
Yeah, by the teacher. And also by his parents when he got home. Whenever he was sad or mad, he was told that he shouldn't feel that way or shouldn't express that. And yeah, I can just feel in his bones like there's a real lack of freedom there, like he can't be himself. And he had to stop being himself because he had to get by at school and he had to get by at home.
So he had to fit in order to be accepted. Yeah.
He had to be exactly who other people wanted him to be.
So what belief did this 6-year-old take on as a result of experiencing teachers and parents telling you to behave in a certain way? What's the belief that he adopted about himself and about the world and how he needs to show up?
I'm not okay the way that I am, and I need to change and become what other people want me to be. So what I am is not good enough.
What I am is not good enough.
Yeah.
That is a very powerful limiting belief. And it's not your fault that you adopted that. So this 6-year-old is what's showing up in the relationship as the girlfriend is asking for more, right?
Like she's saying, I need you to be a, boyfriend, a committed boyfriend. And this part wants to stay connected to her, just doesn't want to be that exactly.
Has there ever been incidences where you felt like you couldn't be all of yourself with her? When certain emotions or thoughts came up and you expressed it, has she ever criticized or judged you for feeling the way that you did?
When I've communicated like hesitancy to be in a relationship, in like a full-on committed relationship, at least I feel she's been disapproving of that. And so that makes me want to back away.
So she was giving you all or nothing, more or less?
More or less, yeah.
And that triggered this 6-year-old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 Did you even realize that it was a 6-year-old that was being triggered?
No. No.
You see how the 6-year-old is being triggered, and then this fear of this gray part, this just doesn't feel right. That wall comes up. This doesn't feel
This
right.
feels like something I've seen before.
Yeah.
And it really limited me as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're wondering, whoa, what's going to happen if I really commit? Is she going to put all these boundaries around how I can or cannot show up? And oh my God, I'm not going to relive that first grade memory.
Exactly.
Because I felt ashamed. I felt like who I am is not good enough. And she's going to use every incident when you don't show up in the way that she expects. That 6-year-old is going to keep getting beat over the head.
Yeah. It seems like there's another part that's going to jump in and try to be who she wants me to be.
The people pleasing part.
The people pleasing part.
Yeah.
Right.
To get acceptance. Because there's also a part of you that also needs the love and approval, but that's in odds with the part that's like, we ain't going there.
That's right.
This is not safe.
That's right.
So you see how this is all polarizing, and this is that internal civil war that's going on with the parts dynamic on the inside.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain in the ass, and
Yeah.
and that's probably why most relationships don't work out, and you get into this drama because we're not recognizing that it's our little girls and the little boys, or if you're in same-sex relationship, it's all the little child parts that are inside fighting because it's trying to get redemption from what was done wrong to them during childhood. And that's what causes conflict.
Right. We don't know what it's about. It just, like, for me, it just went back and forth, and I didn't know what it was.
You didn't know what it was. You couldn't even verbalize it.
I couldn't.
Because you didn't understand this.
All I could say is that one moment, yes, it sounds great, and another moment, it doesn't sound great at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just that framework explanation of what's going on to help you to understand what is going on the inner dynamic. Because she also has little girl parts that are trying to get some sort of redemption from her childhood through you.
It feels that way to me.
Yeah. So this is this dance that if neither party is aware of it, that's why over 50% of marriages break up, and the ones that are still together many of them are miserable.
I see. Yeah, I could do that.
So then let's go back and just finish this part then. Get back in touch with the 6-year-old if you can.
Sure.
Okay, so he's told you that he believes I'm not okay with the way that I am because of all the stuff that happened with the parents and the teachers and the playground. And is there anything more that he needs to share with you?
Yeah, I'm not okay the way that I am, and I need to be somebody different. And that's the feeling that's there.
And that's what she's provoking.
And I don't want that feeling again. Yes, she's provoking that in me.
Because she's basically saying you're not good enough the way that you are.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
That's what you're hearing. And the way that you are is you don't want to commit.
Yeah.
Right? And so this isn't right. So she doesn't like that part of you that doesn't want to commit.
Right.
So she's not accepting that part. She's not knowing where this is coming from.
Right.
Right? So the 6-year-old is saying, what I am is not good enough. I need to be someone different. What else does he need to tell you so that we could work with him to come to a resolution about what he needs from you in order to step forward?
What it feels like to me is that he needs to know that it's okay for me to be sad. It's okay for me to be who I am. It's okay for me to feel however I'm feeling in the moment. And I might need to speak up for however I'm feeling. He might need help for me to speak up for that.
Okay.
But ultimately it needs to be okay for him to say, for me to be who I am, even if it's someone who does not want to be in a relationship right now.
Why don't you look at this 6-year-old and just reparent him and just give him from your higher self what it is that he needs to know so that we could get rid of this old belief and adopt a new belief. Right now he believes I'm not good enough the way that I am. I need to be someone else. So if you can explain what happened, like mom and dad and teachers, the way that they treated him, he might need an explanation of why they did that. They didn't do that out of harm. And perhaps you need to let him know about the positive intentions of why they had to say what they had to say, and help him to rewire his beliefs. And your higher self can do that for him.
Yeah. So just letting him know that they didn't know how to be there for him when he was sad. So they just told him not to be sad. They didn't have parents that were there for them when they were sad. And they didn't have the tools. If they had the tools, if they were in self at the time, they simply would have been with him when he was sad and been compassionate for him.
Yeah.
Or when he was scared. They would have just opened up. They wouldn't have told him that you can't be scared. You can't be sad. You can't be angry.
You might also want to let him know that they were just going by society's conditioning of how little boys are supposed to be. They're not supposed to show their emotions, right? So they weren't allowing you to show emotions. I mean, sadness can bring tears. And are little boys supposed to cry?
Right, no. So yeah, that's a really good point.
And then you let him know that it's not because they wanted to harm you. They wanted to protect you.
Yeah.
They were shutting down parts of you
Yeah.
unconsciously.
Yeah. They were. And when I tell him that, those parts feel more welcome to be there. They feel more okay to come up, and they know that I'm going to be okay with those parts being there. Other people might be uncomfortable with these parts, but that's okay. That's their discomfort. Yeah, and in the classroom, I'm providing a way for him to learn and be who he is, and engaging with him in a different way. So he's already feeling more relaxed and more free to be who he is.
Because you're there to take care of him and speak for him?
Yeah, because he can feel my approval of him.
Excellent.
The way that he is, and he knows that I'm going to approve of him and I'm going to take care of him.
Yeah. How's he feeling with that?
Relieved. I'm not sure, I might be jumping ahead, but the boy is wondering, what if he knows this girlfriend, and what if this or this person who at least wants to be my girlfriend, he's like, what if this person doesn't approve of me? Like, what are we going to do?
And what would you like to say to him?
I'd like to say I hope that she does approve of us, but we need to be honest with her.
Mm. And have you been honest with her?
I haven't really been fully aware of what's going on enough to be honest with her. Like, I've communicated, like, when I wanted to be around her, I'd be around her. When I didn't want to be around her, I wouldn't be around her. But I didn't really know what was underneath that enough to be... Yeah, I think now I could say that both parts are there.
When you say both parts, the part that says this doesn't feel right, and then the other part that is feeling attracted towards her?
Yeah. I can tell her honestly that both parts are there.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to stay connected with her.
Mm-hmm.
And that I wouldn't feel right, making guarantees, but we can kind of inquire into what is it that exactly we want. Like, what does commitment mean even?
Mm.
Like, what am I committing to? Yeah, maybe we can agree on something together that we're both comfortable with.
So a negotiation of what does this mean, how I need to speak for my parts that need to allow me to be me.
Yeah.
And because you didn't understand this dynamic in the past when she has tried to control you, right? Controlling you to make a decision, your automatic reaction was to shut down.
Yeah.
Like the 6-year-old shut down.
As opposed to saying, can we negotiate something else? Does it have to be this or that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we actually both co-decide what we want our relationship to be? Does it have to be this ex-committed relationship or nothing? By committed relationship, there was not even a definition of what committed relationship meant.
Right.
And we both might have different ideas of what that is.
So you really haven't had that conversation. You were just going by the intense chemistry that you two had.
Yeah,
this is love.
It was more like the chemistry of told, or the dynamic of being told that this is what we need to be, at least as I perceived it.
Yeah.
And my automatic reaction to that was, this doesn't feel right. And now that boy is taken care of, this doesn't feel right, has relaxed. I can have more curiosity about it. Like, what exactly is it that you wanted? What exactly is it that you wanted to commit to?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I can or maybe I can't. But at least there's more curiosity and openness about it. And there's a willingness to negotiate what our connection would look like. I would like to have a connection. I would like to not limit who I am in any way.
Yeah, I don't think any of us should be limited in who we are, but sometimes when people have that need for connection and validation, it drives us to do all sorts of crazy things. Where the other person...
I agree.
Seems like because you have the 6-year-old that felt so shut down, that felt like I can't be me, it's an ultra-sensitive reaction.
Yes.
To something that she is asking for. So it's exaggerating the fear, like
she's trying to put me in a dungeon.
Yeah,
like I'm not even sure what she wants. She might be fine with the way things are, but just want a title or something like that. Like, she may not be trying to say what I can or can't do.
Yeah, because you weren't aware of this dynamic, it was easier to just run away and shut down and not even have the conversation because you don't even know how to have the conversation.
I couldn't because I was too triggered.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But now that I'm less triggered, it's a conversation that I think I can go ahead and have with her.
Yeah. Now that you understand that it's the 6-year-old that is driving the trigger.
Yeah. Yeah. There are two parts. There's the 6-year-old,
mm-hmm.
and then there's the part that's saying we can't let the 6-year-old be controlled.
Yeah.
And then there's the other part that's like, let's do what this other person wants us to do so that the 6-year-old can feel okay about themselves.
Uh-huh.
So there's these two protectors of the 6-year-old, and they're both polar opposites.
Yeah. So the 6-year-old, the part that feels that this isn't right with that gray wall,
mm-hmm.
is triggering the 6-year-old who feels so badly that he cannot be himself.
Yes, the 6-year-old, the part that's saying this isn't right is protecting the 6-year-old.
6-year-old, yes.
Right.
And then there's also the other part that does feel attracted to the girlfriend, that does want something, because the fun that you have, the times when she gives you approval, also is giving the 6-year-old some sort of validation.
Yes. Yes.
So there's rejection and validation happening at the same time. So it's this push-pull dynamic.
And I want to chase the validation, and I want to run away from the rejection. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why you get into parts where it's like, I want her, but I don't want her. I feel safe with her, but I don't feel safe with her. And this 6-year-old is in turn activating similar parts in her. So this is that dance that's going on, and we can't stop the pattern until we recognize that this is the dynamic that's going on.
Right.
And feels attracted, and then perhaps a part that then when we understand this push-pull, then we could get the self, the higher self, with curiosity, connection, and compassion towards the girlfriend, to say, what do we need to negotiate, not only with our parts, on what would be right, so that the 6-year-old feels good. How will we need to negotiate with her parts about what feels right for her?
Yes.
And so let the adult self take over the conversation instead of shutting down and running away.
Or appeasing the person by giving them exactly what they're asking for.
Like doing what the teacher will give you a validation for, or mommy and daddy, and say, that's great, you're doing a good job.
Right. I want to be myself.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to run away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is that addictive pattern where, I'm getting the little crumbs of validation. But then the crumbs are not there anymore because they have shut down and run away.
Yeah.
Like,
these crumbs it's saying that these crumbs are conditional, and I need to get the heck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's saying,
Yet the crumbs are yummy.
yes.
So I also want to chase the crumbs.
Yes,
Right.
yes, exactly.
So,
it's like 6-year-olds like, oh my God, what do I have to do now? I loved it when I got the crumbs of validation. As much as I want to stay away. Oh.
Yeah. So now that I see that, I can talk to her about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then so then let's complete this part. So then what is the new belief then that the 6-year-old needs to adopt in order to move forward? Is it interested in releasing this negative limiting belief?
Oh, sure, yeah. It wants to release the idea that it's not good enough and needs to change.
Okay, let's help it to release it. And how would you want to release this belief that's been around since 6 years old? We need to unburden it out of your emotional
burn
system. Burn it. All right.
Yeah.
So just imagine burning it up, helping the 6-year-old do what it needs to burn it.
Okay, it feels like it's gone now.
Okay, good. And what are the new beliefs that needs to be adopted in its place?
Yeah.
You get to tell him, come on, buddy. We are. You are.
Yeah. Yeah, that he's okay. That he's okay even when other people aren't okay with him. He's still okay.
So the new belief is?
I'm okay. My new belief is, for the boy, is that he's okay. He's normal. He's just
I'm okay. Yeah.
He's just a natural 6-year-old who has feelings and doesn't always know what he wants.
So he's basically, you're helping him to believe that I'm okay. I just don't know what I want, and I'm okay being the way that I am, and it's not mommy or daddy or the teacher's fault. Because you already explained why they had to do what they did.
Sure.
He didn't have an adult figure that was...
It was reinforcing that it was okay for him to feel the way that he did.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And now you're sharing with him that it was okay to feel that he felt the way that he did.
Right.
And that he also has the right to feel the way that he does with the girlfriend. And that you need to help him to speak for all of these concerned parts.
That's right.
And perhaps even get into a conversation with letting her know how big or how small the part is that maybe in the future wants a deeper committed relationship. Maybe you're not at that point yet, where like we're here forever.
Right.
You may not be there.
Right,
You may
right.
want to experience more relationships. Maybe you feel that you're still too young to commit in that way.
Right.
And that's a negotiation dance between you and your parts and her. And to
Yeah.
figure out how can we still enjoy each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
So then let's go back to the original protector that we started with, the this isn't feeling right part of you, that gray wall. How's it feeling with what we did with the 6-year-old?
It's saying that the 6-year-old is less burdened, and that it's okay with me speaking for the 6-year-old. It doesn't have to stand in the way. It also feels like it's listened to. Like it doesn't feel comfortable with being demanded to be a certain way, but it's also knows that I'll speak up for it. It doesn't have to come in and take me out.
Yeah. And shut down.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't have to run away. It could be brave and courageous, because that's part of the qualities of the higher self, is to be courageous, be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And if you're courageously vulnerable, then she may not need to have her activated part that wants to control where it's going.
We'll see.
You'll see.
It's possible, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That would
good.
be great.
Good. All right, so then why don't we, thank this 6-year-old for showing up and telling you his story, and let him know that you've got him. And then perhaps we could just wrap this up with, let's just practice. How are you going to have this conversation with the girlfriend now that you have this insight?
Oh, it's a good idea.
Yeah, have him be in the room with you. So I'm going to play the role of your girlfriend, so we're going to do this role play. So I'm going to be a little cheeky.
Okay. Okay. So this is as though I'm having the conversation.
Yeah, we're
with
gonna
her
practice
the way that I
this,
want to.
yeah.
Okay, great. I've been thinking about it, and when you've come up to me in the past wanting a commitment, to me it felt as though you were like a spider trying to catch me in this web.
Okay.
And that felt yucky to me. It felt like I was having demands put on me and I was not being free
I get
to be
that.
who I am.
Okay.
Yeah, what I would really like is for us to kind of negotiate what we both want. So it's not a one direction. We're having a relationship. Either you're in the web or you're not. For you to say specifically, like, what do you want me to commit to? Because I don't even know what a commitment means to different things to different people. Maybe when you say commitment, that might be exactly what I want. I just had a part from long ago, like I've talked to you about how I've been controlled by parents. I've been controlled, all growing up. And when that part hears a demand of this is what I want you to be to me, that makes that part, triggers a belief that says that part is not okay, or it's not okay for me to be who I am, and there's a part that just takes me out of that. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you for acknowledging.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because it hurts, and then when you shut down and go away, I get more desperate. It's like, why isn't he talking to me?
Yeah.
Because I'm not understanding what is really going on.
Yeah.
And acknowledging that you have that part from the past, where you felt trapped, is eye-opening. And if I know that we have this connection, that you're able to be so open and honest with me, then I don't have that desperate need then for connection. I mean, that desperate need for, oh my God, is he going to stay with me forever?
So yeah, and it would also help, because you did initiate the conversation more as a demand than a negotiation. And I would appreciate it if in the future, when you did want to talk about our relationship, if you framed it more as like, let's come together and decide what we both want, than I need this from you, or we're not in a relationship. Can you see how that felt really yucky to me?
I get it. Yeah. And I appreciate that you found out what this was. I mean, I've got to work on my own stuff too. It's like neither of us are highly groomed.
Yeah.
You know?
But we can groom one another.
We can groom one another. Yeah. It's
we should probably ideally groom ourselves, but sometimes it's fun to groom a partner.
Yeah. Well, I think this is great grooming and having this open dialogue.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we each need to take care of our own grooming through individual work.
Yeah.
And I think that it's nice that you were able to get some clarity on that. And this is what I have been seeking. And that vulnerability is what makes me love you even more.
It would be good for us to have a conversation about what we actually want specifically, rather than a commitment, not commitment. Do you think that would be good?
Yeah, that would be good. That it's about what is it I want. I just want this beautiful connection to continue, and that hopefully you're in the mindset to keep seeing what this doorway into vulnerability can bring, with no agenda, and letting it just flow into whatever is meant to be. And if I know that there's that commitment to exploration, and that you're okay with right now being exclusive, but I don't know what that exclusive means 6 months or a year from now, that we each take our profiles off of dating sites, at least for the time being. I'm not saying it's forever. That's what I would want, because this is a beautiful connection that we have, and now we're running into stalemate, this push-pull dynamic, and I've been trying to figure out what this is. And now that you're starting to share what this is, are you willing to see how far this goes without any attachment of what the ending could be?
So basically what you're asking is that we commit to taking our things off of dating sites, to be monogamous and not date other people. That's what you're asking for. So that's what a committed relationship means to you.
That's what it means to me, yes, because I'm a monogamous person.
Okay, yeah. So
how does that land with you?
Well, I mean, I've discussed before that I'm not a monogamous person. And so a committed relationship to me means that we are discussing what we want our relationship to look like. I'd be open to having a primary partner that I am exploring, long-term possibilities with. I don't necessarily intend to be monogamous for that period of time.
And that's perhaps one of the reasons why you felt trapped?
Yeah, I felt like you were expecting something that I've discussed that I'm not able to give to you. And, yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, and let me think about this to see if I might be a little more flexible.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet, because this is new to me. I haven't encountered a person who is openly non-monogamous, and so I have to check in with myself to see if I'm okay with that. Yeah. I may or may not be. I don't know.
That totally makes sense. And if you're not okay with it, I totally understand.
So this way we're not in that push-pull dynamic of blaming ourselves for not having things work out.
Yeah. And I appreciate our relationship, our friendship, our communication. I hope that either way we can stay connected. If you're, I would understand if you need space. I totally get that.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. So this way I don't need to continue to push you. And now that you've shared where it is that you're coming from and why you had the wall up, it gives me more information to make the right decision for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad we talked.
Yeah, no, thank you for that.
Cool. Okay.
So back to therapist. So you're good with the role play that we just did? How did that feel to you?
Yeah, I'm good with the role play. In fact, there was something that I heard recently over this weekend about a way to have discussions like this. And it's called BFD, like big fucking deal.
Oh, big fucking deal. Okay.
But it stands for boundaries, fears, desires.
Ooh, which is what we had just role played.
Yeah, boundaries as far as what I am, and it can be about a sexual encounter, it can be about a relationship as a whole.
Yeah. But
boundaries, this is what I'm willing to do and not willing to do, or what I'm willing to have in a relationship. So, not willing to tolerate having profiles on dating sites, for instance, or not willing to tolerate you dating other people, or not willing to tolerate a certain, type of sex act. So that's boundaries. Fears is, I'm afraid that if you do have profiles up on dating sites, that you're going to leave me for someone else. So that could be a fear. And the desire would be, I just really want to have a deep, passionate relationship with you. Yeah, intention, like sometimes they add intention there, boundaries, fears, desires, and intentions.
Yeah.
An intention would be for I want this relationship to be for personal growth for the both of us.
Sure.
That would be a greater intention.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I might bring that type of conversation up.
In all future encounters.
Yeah. In all future encounters, it would be a good thing.
In every
a healthy
situation.
thing to do.
In the bedroom, during dating, and
yeah,
during conflicts, and naming these parts that are coming up, that are causing the conflicts. And I think if more and more couples knew about the inner dynamics from childhood that are always playing into struggles and frustrations, I think we would be in such a much better place. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.